Hello and welcome to Boomtown Hoops Live, where, look, we said it, folks, we're going to be here every night, including when the Thunder lose 118 to the Eastern Conference champion Miami Heat. Started out with some promise. They kept it in the first half, but ultimately Miami's, no pun intended, hot shooting from three just was far too much for the Thunder to hold, and it really got away in that second half. But yeah, this is the first real true blowout of the season. This is what tanking is, and we got to take it. We got to understand it. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me today, we got Josh Callaway, Justy Post here, and we're here to talk about whatever we can gather from this game. And for me, there are really two players that really stood out in this game: Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Darius Bailey. Now, Josh, I'll let you start with your point. Why was SGA the standout of tonight's game?
Yeah, I mean, SGA played pretty well, I thought. Especially, I feel like everything you say probably for Darius, too, is first half. You know, in the first half, he was aggressive. He got to the rim, got a couple and ones. I think he started 6 of 9 shooting, which was pretty cool. Obviously, he cooled off like everybody did in the second half. But, he had a solid outing. I like the aggression. I like that he had 9 shots in the first, couple quarters. I like that. He looked good. I mean, I thought the whole baby big three looked pretty good. They were the only thing keeping it close, for a while. Then when those three guys kind of chilled out, that's when it got away from him, But SJ looked good. Definitely not his fault that this game got away from him the way it did. I mean, he cooled off, but nobody was helping. It was really him, Bailey, and Dort a little bit was about it. And, what are you going to do? The Heat are good. They're obviously in the finals last year. And Thunder just, they're going to have these nights. And similar to the Pelicans game, this game was close in the third quarter, and it just got away from them really quickly. Not sure. I don't know. It just an ice cold stretch. I think it was a 20-0 run at one point. So, SGA did his best. He played pretty well, but not much you can do when something like that happens.
Yeah, as Nate and Five brought up, it was kind of similar to the Pelicans game, where it really just kind of got away from them that third quarter, which, again, traditionally Thunder teams are bad in the third quarter. Usually we're, more upset about
this
it.
Year that were ridiculous. That Pelicans game and this game too. I mean, this was a 3-point game at one point in the third quarter. And it's crazy to say that because it ended up losing by whatever it ended up being, 28 points, which it was more than that at one point. So, it's weird that can happen so quickly. And that big run, it was like a 10-minute run, I think, of like 35-7 or 34-7 or something.
I believe I have the number somewhere around here. I believe it was something like a 24-3 run to end the quarter. Overall, a 37-9 run. In the third.
Like I said, you look at it, you look at the stats. I mean, Horford and George Hill did nothing. So it was all the little big three, or baby big three, and then when SGA and Bailey cooled off a little bit, that was it. There was no offense to be had. So
yeah, and SGA was very, I liked the way he played. He was getting to the rim, getting good shots. But we got to shout out Darius Bailey here as well, who had a really good first quarter and then shot out of a cannon to start the second half, even though it didn't lead to anything. Jesse, your thoughts on Darius Bailey's performance tonight?
Yeah, he had a really solid game tonight. I think he had the 8 quick points, and he looked good in the first. And then after half, he had the back-to-back threes, and he was really kind of putting something together. But then I think Olynyk started heating up, and then they went on that little run, and things just got too far out of hand. But I think the 3 that really stood out would be Bailey, SGA, and then Lou. Outside of that, not a whole lot happened. And I know they didn't play a whole lot towards the end of the game, but I thought he had a really solid performance tonight.
Yeah, no, when the game was close, he was playing good. Yeah. He had a really crafty finish at the rim, a really good move to get inside. Very great dunk. Yeah, he showed signs of optimism for us. In a game that, if you really just looked at it from the box score, there's not much to be excited about.
Those 3 guys all had some redeeming qualities, and it's crazy if you look across nobody else. I mean, Muscala didn't do anything. We started talking about Horford and George Hill. Just looking at the box, Roby was 1 of 5. Maladone didn't do much. I mean, that was it.
Ludort 50% from the field and 3-point line, 12 points. That's pretty solid for Dort.
Hamadou did go 3 for 3. I give him a mild shout out with 9 points. So
we have a Hamadou Diallo perfect game. So that is something to be excited about.
Yeah, 3 for 3. Immediately, your eyes dart. Did you ever take a 3? No, which explains that.
Hey, look, for me, honestly, also, Mike Muscala getting a 4-point play, that was pretty fun. I mean, he went 1 of 7.
That was a great pass from Maladone. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about that. That pass from Maladone was sweet. He's a nice passer. That's him shooting the threes is fun and that's cool, but the passing is nice. I like the passing maybe more than any part of his game.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He just has a feel for the game that is really crisp. You can see the Tony Parker in him. And I know that's kind of a lazy Euro comparison usually, but the guy was mentored by Tony Parker.
Yeah, Parker coached him up, so it makes sense. You see that in him a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that was very unique about this game as opposed to some of the other games we've had, we got to see the dregs of the bench. No offense to the bench, but the real deep part of the bench. And our guy, Coriel Charlie, I don't know if I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong, asked if there's anyone on the lost unit to close the game that should get more time. Did anyone from, I guess, the real deep parts of the bench impress you enough? Yeah. The bench. The
bench is bench. Yeah.
Yeah, like the triple bench out here. Like the
third unit, yeah.
The starting 5 of the Oklahoma City Blue. Did any of them really show out to you and be like, you know what, I'd like to see more of them?
I actually like Moses Brown. I said that before we came. We were just kind of chit-chatting before we came on. I mean, he's 7'2". He's 21 years old. He had 5 points in his 6 minutes. Why not? Let's see what he can do. I don't see why not. I mean, he came out there. He looked fairly comfortable. He had a good finish. I don't know. I mean, he only played 6 minutes. So, I mean, that's nothing. It's just a little small sample size, but he showed me enough to say, why not? Give him a few minutes. I mean, we're in a position that we can do that. Let's just let things happen. I imagine there's going to be more of these games that have some garbage time at the end. So I look forward to seeing him some more. I liked Moses Brown. Yeah.
Plus Moses Brown, just an awesome name. I don't know.
It is a great name.
That is a great basketball.
He's 7'2". He came in, and the way the camera panned, they were showing. I can't remember who it was on the Heat. They were showing Kendrick Nunn, I think maybe, and he was in the background, and it was literally just like here up, like he just cut off where the camera was. I'm like, how tall is he?
My God.
7'2". I mean, if you're 7'2" and you can give me anything, then you might be worthy of getting some minutes. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Jesse, your thoughts on the bench and maybe a bit how jarring it was to see some people who we've never seen before.
Had to look up some names and numbers.
Yep.
Yeah, who was it? Darius Miller.
Darius Miller. He hit a 3.
Didn't know that guy. I'm also intrigued with Moses Brown. Not so much that I would want him in like over Roby or anybody like that, but I've said it before. I don't know why Kenrich is playing, and I know it's a different position, but if we could work Moses in over Kenrich, I would be down for that. Outside of that, probably not too much. I think things are kind of where they need to be, but yeah, put him in.
Yeah,
we need a big guy anyways, so we've kind of talked about how size is not on our side. So I'm like, you know what? Fine. Put in Moses Brown. I'm okay with it.
Just get this lanky 7'2" guy in here.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I'm for it. But speaking of lanky, I got to say, how much of this loss contributed to us making fun of Poku the past 2 episodes? We lose Poku, and then everything just automatically goes down the drain.
Poku would have been the difference tonight.
How much can we blame ourselves for this?
Hey, I'm a Poku defender, so
Same.
I'm not taking any of the heat.
I'm pro Poku.
I'm pro Poku.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
It would have been nice to at least let Poku jack us some threes, at least provide some entertainment when this game got out of hand. At least if Poku was in the game in that fourth quarter, I would have felt entertained. I would have felt like I had a reason to be watching.
Yeah, absolutely. We at the end of this season, we need to have a super cut of all the fourth quarter highlights from Poku, the good and the bad. Set them to one shining moment. The NCAA final con.
Nobody would take more advantage of some garbage time to launch some threes like Poku would. So it's really a missed opportunity tonight.
This is a perfect Poku game. I mourn his absence.
Hopefully he's not gone too long. Hope we can get him back sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. Grant Hill, 69 over here. I don't know if that's the real Grant Hill, but he asked if we are tired of the fans cheering for losses. I don't know if people are cheering for it because I think people
Some do.
Some get real into it. For one, I'm just looking on the bright side of all of it. I'm like Ted Lasso over here. If we win, we lose. I'm just looking for the good.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's where I'm at too. I mean, I'll say the same thing a bunch of times. I want them to win every night, but the losses just won't bother me. It's kind of the way it is. I mean, the only loss so far that really annoyed me was the one. Well, I can't remember the Jazz where SGA missed the shot, the game-winning shot, because the stat line would have been cool to have. But the losses like tonight, it's whatever. You know, I mean, the Heat are good, and we're not right now. I'm not a fan of actively hoping they lose. I get it's better for them to lose. I just don't have it in me. And I feel like if you really love the team, I don't know how you could want them to lose. But that's just how I see it. People view sports in a different lens, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. Jesse, thoughts on the little tank? Are you against it? I mean, I'm just anything that happens, I'm here for.
I understand the reasoning for the tank and why losing is. I mean, it makes sense. It's not easy for me to watch. I want to win every game, especially with football kind of amping up and like playoffs are getting started. It just kind of hit today that that's not going to happen for the Thunder. And I don't know, it's difficult for me, and I'm going to watch every game and I'm going to watch the players grow, hopefully. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I want to have a winning season. I understand the reason behind all of it, but I don't watch basketball to lose. You know, I want them to win. So it has been difficult.
And it's different than football to me because in the NFL, the way that it's set up, losing has a direct correlation to your pick. Yeah. I mean, there's no lottery. So, you know, NBA, it's a little more hit or miss. You know, like I said before a bunch of times, they're going to lose plenty. So I'm going to hope that they win the ones that they get. And the losses like tonight will come, you know, so.
Yeah,
and I'm definitely not going to complain if they do win. You know, I'm going to take that because I think we're going to have a lot of games, maybe like tonight. Yeah, especially.
I greatly enjoyed being 1-0 and having the Thunder be at the top of the standings for a couple of days. That was awesome.
It was a very fun 3 days. I'm here for the fun parts. I'm here for the wins. You know, if we lose, I'll just say, shucks, and move on and do our little show and talk about the fun parts. Now, we would be completely remiss if we didn't bring up the most glaring, physically glaring part of this game, both the court and the Miami Heat's uniforms. I believe in the pregame show, Josh, you referred to them as the Trix yogurt uniforms. What were these? What's our on a scale of 1 to 10? How do we rate the Miami Heat's uniforms tonight?
Well, the uniforms aren't as bad as the court, in my opinion. I mean, the uniforms aren't great, but the court was like, what are we doing? Like, what are we playing on? Like, it reminded me of like, I might not even make sense. You know, like you see like those photos of like kids who put like AAU and like their numbers are like 170, and it's like what kind of uniforms they have, like, because those are always like crazy like colors and stuff. Like they reminded me almost like of the Hawks when they're wearing their neon yellow with red. It's just like, this is not an NBA look. The uniforms aren't great. You know, they're kind of bad. They're kind of lazy. It's like you had the good pink one, the good blue one. Let's just smash them together because we're out of ideas. But the court is bad, really bad. And that's for somebody who loves teams changing their court to fit the uniform. I think that's really cool. I wish the Thunder would actually do that. I like when teams do that because it's always kind of funny seeing the Jazz. What if the Jazz wore like their orange and red on their regular blue court? It would look ridiculous. So I like that, but this was too much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good idea that it's gone too far. You know, they didn't.
They overdid it with the vice.
They did not stop to think, you know, whether they, should do it. They just went straight for, you know, can we actually do it? Can we make the most vice uniform possible?
Tricks, and they did. Looking things.
tricks are for kids, man. It's ridiculous. Jesse, your thoughts on the uniforms in court?
The uniform, I think it's fine. I like it fine. Whenever you put it on the court, though, that's a lot visually to take in. And I didn't like it all combined. It was a lot happening.
I know, wait until an opponent busts out a color. Like, what if the Thunder had worn like their orange today or something? Like, it'd be like your eyes would just melt. Like, you wouldn't be able to even see what was
You
going
have to have
on.
a white. You have to have the white uniform to be like the blank canvas to really mellow it out. Because I cannot. I mean, what if the Celtics just rolled up there in their green? It would look so disgusting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's one of those uniforms that, the opponent uniform is always going to look weird next to it, which is, I think, like it's like the Jazz orange and red things that they wore a lot, which the Nuggets just completely copied, by the way. I don't know if you've seen those. But they have like the same jersey now. But like, no matter what the opponent wears, it just looks jarring and ugly, whatever.
It's
weird.
weird.
People roast all the time, but I don't like those. And they had the blue ones were great. The pink ones were pretty good. I didn't like as much as the blue, and they just took it too far. Like you said, Bobby, they didn't stop to think if they should. They only thought if they could, kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's the Jurassic Park of uniforms. A good idea in theory, in product, disaster. I hate it. But anyways, I think that's somehow we talked 16, 17-ish minutes about this garbage game. But thank you all for listening. It was fantastic. Anyways, we will see you on Wednesday where the Thunder will pay a visit to Steven Adams at his new house in New Orleans. So looking forward to more pain, I guess. Good for us.
We get to not the Pelicans, but the Knicks on Friday are busting out their new uniforms against us too. So we get to have another uniform roast.
Yes, the City Never Sleeps uniforms. That's at least that one isn't fun to roast. It's just
these teams doing funny things to their uniforms, like putting like city nicknames, or don't do it, man. Keep it like looking like a uniform at least.
I also like how we're saying this from the glass house of Oklahoma City's uniform history. Which is usually not great.
What's the font? It's like the state flag font, right? That's what it's supposed to be on the new black ones.
Yeah, but the state font is like Arial. It's not even that cool. It's like Arial italics.
Nobody even talked about the earned jerseys also being bad. Like, that really got swept under the rug. The earned uniforms, like they look like the Mavericks.
They're just blue with the italics. It's weird.
They really got swept under the rug. Like that did not make its waves on Twitter. When the Thunder wear them for the first time, people are going to be, or it's going to be jarring because I don't think a lot of people even realize they existed. They exist because like it leaked, and then there was photos of it, and nobody talked about it. We'll see. We'll see the reaction there. They don't look good. They're not good.
The fake Mavs uniform, Jesse, worst uniform, the black, Oklahoma ones or the pseudo Mavs ones. Just saying before we go. No, for real. I want to know, which one do you hate worse?
I hated the new ones when they first came out. But the second I started seeing them on like the video game stuff, seeing it on somebody, I'm more okay with it. Especially like when they were doing photo shoots. So I'm fine with that. The blue ones look exactly like the Mavs. So I don't like the dark blue ones at all.
But they're not as bad. So if people like them, I think you're weird and you just get nostalgic. But the ones that were vertical with the Kevin Durant ones.
No.
People act like those are good. And I don't know what they're talking about.
I don't get that either. Those were awful. I hate them. Honestly, our
we've not had a good history of good alternates, generally speaking. We've had the white ones that were like the T-shirt ones that we wore in the playoffs, which made those worse. The fact that they actually had the audacity to wear those in playoff games made those bad. Worse.
Oh God, so bad. And then I love the turquoises, but the worst of all time, the gray uniforms that in the Carmelo years.
My Lord, the gray ones are the worst. Gray and like lime green yellow.
Inexcusably bad.
What are we doing? Those were so bad. They looked like they had sweat through them because it was like a gradient gray. It was like Paul George had just like sweat 6 gallons. We've had some rough alternates. Some good ones, turquoise. I think the ones last year were generally well received. The bombing memorial ones.
Yes.
The turquoise ones were sweet. They wore the all orange shirts in the playoffs. That was cool. I was down with that.
Absolutely. They're bright points, but they're also more low points than the good ones.
Man. I wish if the Thunder made the playoffs this year, which they won't, but if they had made the playoffs this year and then wore the black ones in the playoffs and did a blackout, would that be cool enough to win people over? Because wearing the turquoise ones in the playoffs with the orange shirts was kind of cool.
It was a good vibe. It worked. It really kind of worked, but.
Anyway, that concludes our uniform roast.
Yeah, look, only uniform talk could take this.
You can't watch that Thunder Heat game and not talk about the uniform. It was like one of the biggest stories.
Exactly. This is like the game was so bad and the uniforms were so interesting that this had to be a over 20-minute episode. I'm pretty sure we talked about playoff games less than this. But anyways, thank you all so much for listening. We will see you on Wednesday when we get the New Orleans Pelicans in the Big Easy. Until then, I'm Bobby Howard, along with Josh Callaway, Jesse Post here. We'll see you next time. Thunder up.